In today's Leeds news, Darlow leaves Leeds, more Charles competition, first pro deal for Mills, Gray will be loved at Wednesday, Lucas Perry interest detailed, Paris 75 streaming options, and Jack Harrison New England Revolution negotiations. Friday the 10th of July at the Leeds View with your Leeds United news. Jer here. Hope you're all having a really good week so far and have been enjoying the sunshine. There's a lot of varying different stuff to get stuck into today. We'll give you the news on that bloke leaving Leeds and going to that club. Have a little bit of fun with this if we can along the way. But I do hope you're all having a great day. If you want to like and subscribe to the channel, that is the single best way to support this channel to help us move forward. And if you want to help vote for us in the FCA awards, you can do so towards the back end of the video. I'll give you the details. Then we have got news on Paris 75 coming to a streaming service, or a version of a streaming service that we will get to towards the back end of the video as well. But there's a varying different range of stories today that we will try and wrap up. Anything major happens then over the weekend, we'll cover that in Transfer Talk on Sunday. Just to let you know, we're also available on audio platforms and YouTube. If you're listening on audio, you can give us a follow and a channel rating. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can subscribe and like to the channel. Right, let's crack on and start off with that bloke. I'm going to try and have a little bit of fun with this. I was going to just not cover the story at all. I just do 2 seconds and go, and he's left by. So yeah, Karl Darlow has agreed a deal to join Manchester from Leeds United. Alex Crook in TalkSport confirmed the deal was done late last night, and that was after the Athletics' Laurie Whitwell and Patrick Boyland had said that the negotiations were at an advanced stage between Karl and them. The YEP this morning has also confirmed the details that came out from Alex Crook late last night. He's joined an uncomfortable but small list of players to make the jump across the Pennines from one to the other. But Fabrizio Romano confirmed that it's a 2-year deal and he will go in as the second choice goalkeeper to Senny Lemens, which is a bold move considering the option from Leeds was 2 years as a first choice goalkeeper, or at least that's what's rumoured, that being the option. We don't know the full details, at least right now. Leeds will now need to move on getting their next goalkeeping target. We will see if it's a first choice option or if Leeds decide to go for a backup option and Lucas Perry steps into that first choice position. That'll become clear over the next couple of days. But what's not clear is Lucas Perry's position at the club, and we'll get to that in a few minutes' time. But yeah, bit of a blow, this one. Good season last year. Would have saved Leeds a huge chunk of money as a first choice option, at least for this year, to give Leeds that extra buffer as they as they get used to the SCR over the next 2 years before they get to that more comfortable bracket once the stadium redevelopment work has been done. But there you go. There you go. He's gone. See you later. Bye, Karl. Let's talk about Shea Charles. So the one thing that Leeds absolutely didn't want to happen in their quest to try and sign Shea Charles was more clubs getting involved. It is exactly what Southampton will have wanted. Alex Crooks, again on TalkSport, along with Ben Jacobs, jointly broke news last night that another club has gotten involved in the mix to try and sign Southampton's central defensive midfielder, Shea Charles. Leeds have had 2 bids rejected, as we know at this point. There was a third bid that was supposed to be Southampton's intent to reject it. We still haven't actually heard a formal rejection on that. Leeds were said to still be in positive negotiations with Southampton, but they didn't want this. Southampton's valuation, £30 million. The best way they can get that £30 million is loads of clubs getting involved and driving the price up, and that seems to be now what is happening. Up until this point, it's been Leeds and Crystal Palace. We haven't heard anything about Crystal Palace putting a formal offer in, but Fulham have now joined the race, and they will likely have some funds to back their new manager, Alvaro Arbeloa, who's coming in, and they're going to want to give him what he wants to be a success going in the next seasons. Both clubs will now know the starting point when it comes to a fee because of Leeds failed 2 bids so far. So that might just speed up this process as it goes. If a bidding war happens, I think we all know what's going to happen there. Leeds will probably likely walk away from the situation then, and probably rightly to do so as well. Leeds have got a tight transfer budget this summer. They said they're going to be strategic. Getting into a bidding war isn't strategic in any way, shape or form. So it'll be interesting to see if they can entice him. Charles himself was said to be keen on a move to Leeds, and that might be a deciding factor here as well. Whether he wants to go to Fulham or Palace. Palace will obviously have European football next year after winning European competition last year, so maybe he fancies a crack at that. But they've got a pretty stacked midfield, Crystal Palace, so it would be an interesting one to see, and we'll keep an eye on it, but likely to rumble on a little bit longer for now, at least. But I think those two clubs getting involved will speed up at least Leeds' interest in Shea Charles. Let's move on. After that incredibly happy start to a Friday, we've got some genuinely positive, happy news, at least, for Friday. Leeds United have confirmed that 17-year-old under 21 midfielder Callum Mills has signed his first professional contract at the club and will stay with Leeds till at least 2028. Mills had a very strong 25-26 campaign for the under 21s, and what is, again, as I keep saying, a very, very young Scott Gardner side. Showed a lot of versatility last year as well. Played in central midfield, played wide, and also played in more attacking roles over the course of the seasons. We covered them over on bigup.com. He's only 17 years of age, so he's got plenty of ground to run. The next 2 years, as Andy Cousins says, will be very important in his development to see if he can start to push on to what Liam Bennett described as being a really, really, really elite player that you need to be at to try and break in to that Leeds United first team squad as a professional footballer. But it's very good news for him. Congratulations on your pro deal, Callum. There are more pro deals expected to be announced in the coming days and weeks as the players get ready to return for pre-season. We'll see who's getting scholarship deals. We'll see who's getting pro deals. All to be announced very shortly. Interesting to keep an eye on Sam Alker from the 17s or 16s last year. Does he get a scholarship deal? Does he get an extension? Or what happens with him? Because there's a real talent there as well. But Callum, great season last year. Well done, Callum. Let's talk about Harry Gray. The Yorkshire Evening Post have got a really nice featured piece out today from Kyle Newbold. It's a really interesting read. Check it out if you get time. Former Leeds United and Sheffield Wednesday favourite Mel Sterland has been given his opinion on Harry Gray's loan to Sheffield Wednesday. Mel Sterland played 347 times for Sheffield Wednesday before he made the jump to Leeds and became a title winner under Howard Wilkinson. So he knows Sheffield Wednesday and he knows Leeds. More importantly, he knows the fan base of both sides incredibly well, and he has said this to the Yorkshire Evening Post. Seriously, the kid can play. He's a good footballer. He can play up front. He can drop into midfield. He's got that little bit of nastiness in him. He doesn't mind putting his foot in, and he's 17 years old. He'll do well at Hillsborough, and the fans will love him because he puts himself about and he can score goals. Sterland also pointed to the very obvious Gray DNA that is in his system, the track record of that family, and also said with the likes of Liam Cooper and Barry Bannon around him, that will likely help him in his development. Very important to have those senior heads, and Cooper knows them quite well. Sterland also then said about his debut, scoring on his debut would be fine, wouldn't it? It would be a hell of a start for him. I think they have signed another attacker, another striker as well, Sheffield Wednesday. They're going through a real rebuild there. But yeah, he'll get more positive opportunities there than he had at Rotherham last season, down the bottom end of the table. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on him and loan watch. Let's move on. Continuing to talk about goalkeepers this week, and Lucas Perry's had a bit more news coming out around him. And right now, he is the only contracted goalkeeper the Leeds United have on their senior books at this moment in time. But that doesn't mean he'll still be the Leeds United goalkeeper or a Leeds United goalkeeper come the end of the transfer window. We've heard over the past few weeks that there has been some interest in Lucas Perry from clubs in Italy, Torino being named as the primary target. The conversations have been obvious around this. People in the comments have been rightly pointing out there isn't exactly a lot of money floating around in Italian football. Can they even afford to buy Lucas Perry? Well, it doesn't appear to be the case. Sky Italia have some information there today, and they say a move could happen, but it won't likely be a permanent one. Sky Italia have said that Serie A outfit Torino want to bring Lucas Perry in, and that interest in him is limited to a loan move. They're also said to be interested in Aaron Ramsdale as a loan option as well, which seems like a probably more realistic one than Lucas Perry, at least right now. And that can change. Obviously, that can change. Leeds are said to have not received any kind of a formal offer from Torino at this moment in time. It's very much press talk and local agent talk at this moment in time. But if Leeds do decide to bring in a number one goalkeeper for next season, then by the end of the transfer window, maybe they decide to let Lucas Perry go out on loan, play football, get minutes, get his reputation back to where it was at Lyon, and then maybe look to sell him in 12 months' time for a profit. Leeds would obviously, though, have to bring in a backup goalkeeper as well. You could see them bringing in a more seasoned pro on a free transfer, and there's plenty of options around there if they need to do that. But yeah, Right now, it seems unlikely that Lucas Perry would move because there's no goalkeepers at the club. Alex Cairns is due back on Monday. We'll see what happens with his contract. So, but this could change though towards the end of the window. If Leeds do manage to bring in their goalkeepers, maybe then they freeze up Lucas Perry. But don't be surprised if Leeds bring in a backup goalkeeper and Lucas Perry starts the season as number one next year. Very possible that could happen as well. So, yeah, as it stands right now, Leeds don't really have a number one. Lots of 0.5s. We'll see where it goes. Quick update on Paris 75 before we get to the Jack Harrison story. So lots of people keep asking around, when is the Paris 75 documentary coming to streaming services? We've got some information on that now. Harvey Marcus, who is the director, owner, videographer, interviewer and everything of the Paris 75 documentary, has sent us some information saying that you can now register your interest for a stream of the Paris 75 documentary. If you are interested in seeing it and you haven't had a chance to outside of the UK and Ireland, you can now click the link down below in the description, fill in a very short form, and you will be let know when a streaming option becomes available. This will be done on a streaming service that Harvey's using rather than going on the mainstream ones like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime. But if you want to see it, and I highly recommend that you do, I've seen it twice now, it's fantastic. If you're a Leeds United fan, it's an important part of your history and worth getting your teeth stuck into. So you can check that out down below if you want to. Harvey's working hard to make sure everyone who wants to see this gets a crack at seeing it. So you can check that out. Let's talk about Jack Harrison before we wrap up today. So Gustavo Lopez, who is a Brazilian-American journalist who covers the MLS for Sky Sports, has reported this morning that negotiations between New England Revolution and Leeds United for Jack Harrison remain active. Lopez says that there is growing confidence in the US that an agreement can be reached between New England Revolution and Leeds United to try and bring Jack Harrison back to the MLS. This comes after last month's report from the Blazing Musket, who are the ones that broke the story initially about interest in Jack Harrison. So the story has been kind of quietly bubbling under the surface in the US behind the noise of the World Cup. The MLS transfer window opens on July 13th, the day Leeds United players return for pre-season training. So it will be interesting to see if Jack Harrison rocks up for pre-season. If he doesn't, maybe we can read a little bit more into this story. But negotiations are described between the clubs as active, and growing confidence suggests that at the very least, Leeds United and New England are working towards a deal before that July 13th window actually opens. Harrison has got connections in New England. He attended Berkshire School in Sheffield, Massachusetts, not to be mixed up with Berkshire or Sheffield in England. He also went to Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem in North Carolina and was part of the Super Draft in the US before he joined New York City and then became part of the Manchester City framework. He obviously left Manchester United's academy at 14 years of age to go to the States. So he has got connections with Massachusetts, has got connections with the MLS. From a financial standpoint, where Leeds sit on this, it's not straightforward at all. Jack has got 2 years left on his current Leeds United contract. He's on a very high wage, and Fiorentina didn't pick up the £6 million option to buy Jack Harrison at the end of last season. So what type of fee Leeds can actually try and get for Harrison will be very interesting to see. Now, another loan wouldn't exactly benefit Leeds going into next year. Ideally for Leeds, they'd get him off the books completely. Stefan Borson said from a financial perspective, the wage is fine. You get them off the book, but Leeds would like to bring in a fee for the player and not lose another one on a free transfer down the road. So some fee right now with the wages are priority for Leeds United. Now, Lopez is, as I say, a relatively credible source in the US. He covers Revolution closely and is an MLS reporter with MLS sources. So some level of credibility in this, at least right now. Harrison spoke late last season while at Fiorentina about his next move, and he said that he wanted to be somewhere where he was happy, highlighting happiness over anything else in his next contract. And maybe that happiness involves going back to the MLS and playing consistent football and enjoying himself. Whether that happiness comes with a significant pay cut in order to fit into the New York Revolution's pay scale and the MLS wage caps, we'd have to wait and see. You would imagine they would have him as a designated player. I'm assuming designated players are even still going in the US. I assume. I don't actually know. It's been a while since I followed the MLS. But yeah, it's an interesting one to keep an eye on. He is one of the highest earners at Leeds, and from a Leeds perspective, it would be one to try and get off the books this summer if they possibly could. Right, there you go. ton of stuff to talk about today. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to nominate us for the Football Content Awards, the nominations close in a couple of weeks' time. So you can click the link down below or use the QR code and fill in the application form there. You can nominate us for the Best Premier League Podcast and Best Premier League Content Creator or any of the other categories if you want to. Also, you can check out yesterday's videos and the interview with Andy Wood, Liam Bennett and Oliver Norman at the start of the week. Thanks very much for joining me. As always, I'll see you over the weekend for Transfer Talks. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your day. Speak to you soon.